This is a $1 bill. If you have a $1 bill, I'm going to ask you take it out and have a good look at it. It says here, Federal Reserve Note, the United States of America, $1. If you read those three lines together, does it make any sense to you whatsoever as a cohesive statement? No, they're just three lines and they have no meaning and no context. If you read this carefully, it says reserve, Federal Reserve. Now, first of all, what does reserve even mean? Reserve means a supply of a commodity not needed for immediate use, but available if required. Does the Federal Reserve have any commodities in it? Does the Federal Reserve actually reserve anything? The answer is no, so this doesn't make sense. And secondly, it says $1, but what is a $1? $1 of $1 what? The reason it doesn't make sense is because there was another dollar just like this, but there were more words and those words were erased. So if you want to see the unedited, proper dollar, you have to look at either a gold note or a silver certificate. I don't have one on me, but what we'll have to do is put it up on screen and I'll show you exactly the difference. This is probably the biggest scam in not just your lifetime, but for generations. This is the biggest scam in the world right now, and this is no exaggeration. What you're looking at is a silver certificate from 1957 and a modern US dollar. They look almost the exact same besides the green and the blue seal. But there's something else very important. And as you can see, there's a line under silver certificate. Now, as I said, when you read the US dollar, it says Federal Reserve Note of the United States of America, $1. When you read all that together, it makes no sense. But guess what? Read the silver certificate, and it's very different. On the silver certificate, it says, this certifies that there is on deposit in the Treasury of the United States of America, $1 in silver payable to the bearer on demand. And the other one, Federal Reserve Note, the United States of America, $1. You see the stark difference? Now, what we have here is something that is redeemable for nothing. So what does that make its intrinsic value? Nothing, except the paper it's printed on and the ink. Practically nothing. That's why we say that the US dollar has no intrinsic value. It used to have an intrinsic value. And that's the joke, and the joke is on us. But if you want to strike back at the machine, simply do not hold dollars. Instead, hold assets. Silver, gold, perhaps, but I'm not a big fan of gold, and I'll tell you why in a later video, so actually scratch that. It's all about the silver, okay? And maybe you want to put something in crypto, but don't want to veer too off on this. Silver is really the best place to be at this point. That silver certificate could be redeemed for physical silver in the form of dimes and quarters and silver dollars. You see, we had silver dollars, dimes, and quarters that were 90% pure silver. Then in the 1965 Coinage Act, that was completely eliminated. You see, all these thefts are happening right under our collective noses. And the only way you can do something about it is by opting out. There's another thing that I want to show you that's pretty interesting. What if I told you that the stock market had been on life support for the past 17 years, and I can prove it? I'm going to show you a chart. This is an official website from the Federal Reserve Bank, and it shows the monetary base. Notice something interesting. Towards the last quarter of 2008, the monetary base was approximately, in the 800s. And then in recent years, it skyrocketed, and not for any reason besides the Federal Reserve deciding to expand the monetary base, aka quantitative easing, money printing in other words. Now it's $5.3 trillion. And look, understand that we have a fractional reserve system. So this is just base currency. So the actual amount of currency in the system is multiple times this, but this is just the base level. And so again, you can see base level has gone up about 7 or 7.5 times from its bottom. Interestingly enough, the stock market of the Dow Jones Industrial Average was, interestingly, these numbers are so neat. I like how neatly they all stack up. So it's perfect for illustration. It was around 8,000 in late 2008. And guess where it is now? 50,000. Meanwhile, the price of gold, guess where it was at? It was also somewhere around $800 in the last quarter of 2008. And guess where it is now? It's over 5,000. You see how the dollar has expanded and all the other assets have expanded with it. But the purchasing power and the wealth disparity and the amount of billionaires and the amount of wealth concentrated at the top keeps increasing. This is how the system works. The haves control assets and the have-nots don't. At best, they buy real estate. Now, has real estate gone up 7 times in value since 2008? Not even close. But stocks have, gold certainly has, silver has, Bitcoin, you bet your bottom dollar it has. But meanwhile, the power of the dollar has continuously declined. The cost of living has continuously gone up. We get promise after promise that things will change and things will be more affordable by whoever runs for office. But guess what happens? All those promises are broken because they don't really have the power or perhaps even the inclination to change anything. The only true way to vote is with your choices of what you trust. And to trust the dollar is foolish because you're trusting the system. Strike back at the machine, hold physical silver, maybe look into buying some mining stocks in silver, and you should be all right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.